Alright everybody, now it's time for a little something. A little something I'll be covering as much as possible, even with my eventual loss of the internet on the 23rd, since I haven't been able to really pay my internet bills. Falling on hard times, you know how it is sometimes, right? But while I'm here, this is something I have to cover. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Cold War II. And from Rupley, U.S. tests cruise missile banned by expired INF treaty. That's right, we're testing a cruise missile that was previously banned over the landmark treaty established by Ronald Reagan and the Soviet Union. And as I said before, Trump most likely brought us out of the INF treaty so that he could establish missiles and other military strong-arming methods within the Middle and Far East, but didn't necessarily consider the possibility of yet another arms race. The U.S. military has tested a ground-launched cruise missile with a range of 500 kilometers. The Pentagon confirmed such weapons were banned under the INF Arms Control Treaty, which the U.S. exited this month. The flight test of a conventionally configured ground-launched cruise missile was conducted on August 18th. At a range on San Nicolas Island, California. The U.S. Department of Defense said Monday. After a successful launch, the missile struck its target more than 500 kilometers away. Which, by the way, for those of you who don't understand metric, that's about 310 miles. Photos and the video of the test launch suggested that the missile was a Tomahawk, an existing U.S. cruise missile normally launched from ships and submarines. This was confirmed later in the day by Pentagon spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Robert Carver. Use of the Mark 41 vertical launching system in the test is of particular significance, since those are the launchers positioned at U.S. missile defense sites in Poland and Romania. Russia has cited the existence of these sites as a threat and a violation of the INF by the U.S., since the launchers can fire both Tomahawks and SM-3 defensive missiles, as the Pentagon just demonstrated. Why would Russia complain about these being against the INF? We withdrew this month. Do they think we care or something? And by we, I really just mean our government, by the way. I do not support this, but if it's gonna happen, you bet sure as a civilian journalist, I'm gonna cover this shit. And not only that, I'm gonna make sure I find some really underground articles at some point, some really good shit that's not being talked about. Because somewhere out there, I'm sure, is a less than known article with a lot more information on this. Some leaked information that they don't want out there, perhaps? Who knows? I'll go dig and see what I find. But this is just too good, man. This is too good. Here is a tweet from Dr. Kevin Purcell. Is a Mark 41 VLS strapped to a trailer? Almost zero development work to get this to work. I'm not sure what this shot demonstrates other than you can strap a VLS to a trailer and fire a Tomahawk from it. But we sort of knew that. Weapons with a range between 500 kilometers and 5,000 kilometers were banned under the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, a key arms control mechanism that helped de-escalate Cold War nuclear tensions when it was signed in 1987. In February this year, the U.S. announced it was quitting the treaty, accusing Russia of having a non-compliant missile system. Moscow denied the accusations and invited inspections of the system, but no one took it up on the offer. The treaty expired on August 1st. Now here's the thing. Alright, here is the thing. This new arms race, the Cold War II, it's not off to the best start when you really think about it. Sure, at least the United States was able to launch its missile, but again, not very far, and what we ultimately tested, at least according to Dr. Kevin Purcell, is something we already knew we could do anyway. So what was the point if not posturing? That's just sad. I mean, posturing was something people already knew you could do. And not only that, but frickin' Russia launching its rocket and killing a bunch of its own people because, oops, we couldn't launch our rocket. Yeah, this new Cold War is not off to the best start. You know, it's making the United States and Russia look like they're completely incompetent, at least in this area of military technology. The Trump administration previously signaled it was determined to exit the INF back in October 2018, when National Security Advisor John Bolton described it as a relic of the Cold War during his visit to Moscow. There's a new strategic reality out there, Bolton said. Reporters at the time described the INF as a bilateral treaty in a multipolar ballistic missile world that applied only to the US and Russia in Europe and did not do anything to constrain the sections of China, Iran, or North Korea. The INF was the second major Cold War arms control treaty the U.S. led the way in dismantling following the demise of the Anti-Ballistic Missile ABM Treaty in 2001. The sole remaining arms control treaty, New START, is due to expire in February 2021. So yeah, neither side is actually looking all that strong, although the U.S. is definitely looking stronger than Russia. But just like the previous arms race, you know what this is going to be about. This is going to be about pandering, posturing, and, oh, look at me, I'm so scary. Right? Because that's what the last Cold War was about. You know, that's what this one's going to be about, too. It's always going to be about posturing and, oh, look at me, I'm so scary, ooh. Because that's what it always is. Knowing that is half the fight in war. A lot of the time it really is just posturing and threatening. Hell, what do they say you're supposed to do when you run into a bear? You should lift up your coat and make yourself look scary? That's posturing. It's a thing that takes place in nature. Animals posture against one another all the time, in lieu of an actual physical altercation. This is the most primal, most animal sort of thing you can possibly do. This is base level, guys. Absolute base level. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kinds of arms and technological developments are going to come in the next year. Needless to say, the military-industrial complex is going to love this shit. Oh yeah. All the more reason why this needs to not happen, since the military-industrial complex is costing us billions and billions every year, not to mention it ends tons and tons of innocent lives. And anything that bolsters the military-industrial complex at this point is obviously a bad thing. Anyway, peace!